Hey there, welcome back friends. Today we will talk about finally block. Now what is finally? First of all, let us get rid of these catch blocks, and in here I type in finally and we add on any statement, for example a sys out statement, and this statement will display a message. This will be get printed. Alright, so very simple message, and in here, as we know, in here we will get an arithmetic exception first, and take a guess whether this finally block will get executed or not. There is no catch block, by the way, and our Eclipse IDE is not complaining about the missing catch blocks. The reason is pretty simple. If we are making use of finally block, then making use of catch block is optional. We can make use of it, and how to make use of it is something which we will see in couple of minutes. But in here, we are making use of the finally block only, which is absolutely okay. Now friends, in here, this particular statement will get printed when the exception occur, or this particular statement will get printed when the exception will not occur. So the question is, when the finally block will get executed, and the answer is, if we are making use of the finally block, no matter whether the exception occurs or not, the finally block will always get printed. Let me show you how. In here, let me add yet another statement, which is system.out.println, so that we will get a better overall idea and better overall output. So in here, let me execute this program, and let me show you the output, and the output is this will be get printed, and this statement is from the finally block. Definitely in our try block we are encountered with an exception, but it doesn't matter whether we are encountered with a unhandled exception, the finally block will get executed. In this case, there is a unhandled exception, which is a arithmetic exception. For arithmetic exception, there is no catch block. Even then, the finally block got printed. Let me do one more thing. Let me change this statement a little, x divided by 2, and let me make the value of x as 2 again. So there is some kind of issue. Let me continue. So we are dividing 2 by 2, and the final answer would be 1. So let me execute this. So in here, we don't know what would be outcome, and the answer is 1, and then again the output from the finally block got printed perfectly. Now let me add a new catch block. So in here, if I type in catch, and we will catch a exception, the exception would be of runtime exception maybe. Now in here, runtime exception E, and in here we can print out a statement. The statement could be possible syntax error. So in here, the reason why we are getting this exception or the error, the reason is pretty simple. The catch block is misplaced. Whenever we are making use of finally block, the catch blocks needs to be placed before the finally block. So let me cut this catch block and let me place it before the finally block. And now our program will execute properly. And in here, let me type in a better message, which is runtime exception. Now, what is a runtime exception? Definitely every arithmetic exception is a runtime exception. So in here, let me execute this program. So the same output, we don't know what would be the outcome, and the outcome is 1 for this case. And then moving forward, this will be get printed is the output from our finally block. So everything is in place. Now again, let me divide x by 0. Let me execute this program. And here is the runtime exception. Now moving forward, let me also show you, can we make use of multiple catch with finally block? Definitely we can. So in here, let me copy this runtime exception and let me add a yet another catch block. So yet another catch block, and this catch block is based on our class exception. Now, as the sequence is correct and exception class is mother for runtime exception, definitely there won't be any error. And in here, we will modify this message, and the message would be exception, and that's it. So in here, now if I execute the program, definitely the runtime exception will get executed, because runtime exception is the child for exception class, and as a result, child caught the exact exception first, and moreover the finally block also got executed. So this is all for today's video. Let me finally also execute a program where there is no exception, and again our program worked properly. But the moral of the story is it doesn't matter whether exception occurs or not, but the finally block will always get executed, and that is in fact the purpose of the finally block. Now, when to make use of finally block? Imagine few statements which you want to execute regardless of exception occurred or not. Those kind of statements which needs to get executed regardless of exception occurred or not needs to be kept inside your finally block. Those statements will get executed. So definitely finally block is an important block, and this is all for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks.